So the 115 Manchester City want to replace Kevin De Bruyne with Morgan Gibbs-White. And Forest are after a washed up striker. Welcome to your Forest transfer news. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to your latest Forest transfer news. Coming up, I'll tell you all about what David Ornstein has been saying about Gibbs-White. We'll talk about a Premier League striker that Forest are being linked to alongside Manchester United. And no, it's not Mateta. This one is bad, man. And plenty more to discuss. If you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Let's get like 588 likes if we can. Make sure you're subscribed if you are new, and don't forget to check out football prizes where you can win tickets to that final game. Will it be a beach party, or will it mean something as Forest will take on Chelsea? Hospitality tickets for you, 39 pennies. That's all it costs to get a ticket. Get as many as you want. Scan the QR code or click on the link. Alrighty then, let's talk about Morgan Gibbs-White. So the news is, as was announced last week, that Kevin De Bruyne will be leaving Manchester City at the end of the season. And, you know, I think he's been very good for them, very good for the Premier League. You know, maybe Chelsea missed a trick there, but they also missed it with Mohamed Salah, didn't they? But Kevin De Bruyne is done and dusted with Manchester City. So they're now looking ahead and thinking, who can we get to replace him? Now, David Ornstein has come out and he's put it in The Athletic that they have shortlisted the likes of Wirtz and Morgan Gibbs-White to be the replacement for Kevin De Bruyne. Now, there's a couple of things to say here. Firstly, if Forest do sell Morgan Gibbs-White, just to let you guys know, there's a 10% sell-on fee that Wolves would get. So if they sold him for, to make maths easy, 100 mil, Wolves would get 10 million of that fee. So Wolves, there's your transfer budget for next season. But at the same time, just because someone's shortlisting someone doesn't mean they've got someone. A few of my Man City YouTuber friends I've already seen have worked Morgan Gibbs-White into their new look team for next season and how he will fit in and everything like that. And thirdly, do Forest even want to sell him? Or are they quite happy with him? And does Morgan Gibbs-White even want to go? So, a couple of things to break down here. Firstly, we know that in January, Forest started talking to Gibbs-White about a new contract, and Gibbs-White is open and willing, if you like, to put pen to paper. Obviously, the deal and the details need to be thrashed out, but he's happy to commit his future to Forest. Remember, he signed when we got promoted on a 5-year deal, 25-ish million up front, and then like 600 million add-ons from Wolves, Forest getting Europe, Forest staying up, him getting England caps and all this stuff. So there was loads of it that built it up to about a £40 million deal. Now, if Forest were to sell him, and we've seen plenty of stories and talks in the past over Gibbs-White going, we've seen him linked to Spurs, to Newcastle, to Man City, to all those other clubs as well. If Forest were to sell him, they would demand a big fee. There's no two ways about it. It would be in excess, I think, of 60 million. But I don't think Forest are now in a position where they need to sell players to become or remain sustainable. So selling Gibbs-White isn't exactly high on the priority list. Yes, we had to sell Brennan Johnson. Circumstances were different then to what they are now. And the fact that we've seen Forest lock down Murillo, lock down Chris Wood, nearly locking down Einar as well. And then you got Gibbs-White, who's next on the agenda, to me says Forest do not look at themselves anymore as a selling club. Yes, there will be players that come in and go out over the summer transfer window, but I'll be surprised if it's Gibbs-White. Fourthly, Morgan Gibbs-White reminds me a bit of Stuart Pearce in terms of some of his priorities. Stuart Pearce always loved playing for England, right? Stuart Pearce loved Forest. He wasn't born Forest, but he loved him. He loved Forest and we loved him. Same thing with Morgan Gibbs-White. Their priorities lie in England. Let's be honest here, and there's no no shame in it and there's no ill feeling towards it. Every footballer has their different priorities. Representing their country was high on their priority list. And I remember when we spoke to Stuart Pearce, he was telling us about the time where we got relegated and he got on the phone, I think it was Terry Venables at the time, and said to him, if I stay at Forest, does that hinder my chances at playing for England? And he said, look, if it did, I would have considered my future. But Venables said, nope, still considering you for it. So he stayed. And why am I saying this? Because I think this is something that goes into Morgan Gibbs-White's mind. If Morgan Gibbs-White were to leave, it would be because he would get on the phone to Tuchel and Tuchel would be like, and he'd ask Tuchel, would I have more chance of getting in the England team at City or at Forest? Depending on that answer may sway his mind one way or the other. But we have already seen him called up to the England squad under Tuchel. We saw the outrage when he wasn't called up in the first place. So Gibbs-White getting into the England team is not really, I think, a factor that should come into this. Especially as the circumstances are different. When Pearce was talking to Venables, it was over relegation. Gibbs-White is talking from a position of third in the league. So if you're not going to take us from there, then you got an agenda against Forest, plain and simple. So I don't think that comes into it too much. Other things that could factor would be money, would be family, location, and things like that. That's all up to Gibbs-White. Now, I still don't think that he would go. Because if you look at Man City, where they spent 100 million on Grealish, where they've bought in Nico in midfield in the January transfer window, they got Rodri coming back. They're still, if they're gonna move players on, they still need to move the likes of Gundogan back on. They've got McAtee in there. They got O'Reilly breaking through. There's a whole host of midfielders that are already there, and for Gibbs-White to go there and guarantee himself a starting spot is not guaranteed. Now, I'm not saying he can't get it, but what I'm saying at Forest, clearly the team is built around him. Therefore, for me, from a developmental perspective, because he is still young in his mid-20s, it would suit him better to stay at Forest. And, you know, I know this has come from Ornstein, this report, and everyone, tier 1 Ornstein and what have you. But being on a shortlist does not mean an offer has been made, an offer has been accepted, a contract has been offered, a contract has been accepted, and a shirt is being held up. I got a shortlist of, you know, people I would like to meet. Just because they're on my shortlist doesn't mean I'm ever going to meet them. I got a shortlist of jobs I would like to have. I haven't got the qualifications for it, therefore I can't have it. We can all have shortlists for whatever. I got a birthday shortlist already, and you know, I'm 8 months away from my birthday. Shortlists mean nothing. But let me ask you guys this thing. Do you think his head could get turned by Manchester City? And remember, Manchester City aren't even in a Champions League spot right now, whereas we are. And if he was to go, what's your price tag on him? Let me know in the comments down below. All right, let's move on to some slightly worrying news, and it will be made clear to you as I talk you through this. But there is a Premier League striker being linked to Forest and to Manchester United as well. And that Premier League striker is Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin, who is yet to agree a new contract with Everton and is expected to leave in the summer, although Moyes has still not given up hope on trying to sign him up. I don't know why he'd want to. Is expected to be linked with a whole vast and different Premier League clubs. And the two right now that are being linked are Forest and Manchester United. Forest need a striker, we know that, Prem proven and what have you, that usual word. Does he tick those boxes? Kind of. But I'm sure you know what I'm going to say on him. His injury record is one of the worst I've seen since Darren Anderton probably in the Premier League. And I wouldn't touch him with a barge pole. I just think we can do so much better. Now, I know some of you will be like, come on, man, free transfer. What's the risk? Like, bring him in. Let's see what happens. Maybe he stays fit under Nuno's magic sponge and all this. I don't think anyone can make him fit. I don't think if he moved to Krypton and came back with Superman powers, I don't think the sun would heal him. He's that injury prone. So for me on Calvert-Lewin, massive no. He's into his late 20s now, still probably got a few years in him, but you expect bodies of footballers as they go older to be more susceptible to breaking down. I don't know what's left in his body not to break down. So I don't want him. Now, could I see it happening? This one's one that's been linked with Forest for a couple of transfer windows now in terms of Calvert-Lewin. I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to say I don't even think he's that great a striker. He had a purple patch for me about 2.5 years ago. I can't even remember what season it was, where he scored a few goals. He was looking good, looking sharp. And then, like, I don't know, his leg fell off or something. And then he hasn't recovered from it. I'm fully anti this one. I think this would be worse than an Eddie Nketiah signing. Just because I just don't think we would see him. He'd just be on that treatment table. And even if he's not, he's going to need some games to get to match fitness. And then when he gets to match fitness, his hamstring will go again, or he'll blow out an ACL, or whatever it might be. I think this one would be silly to do. And let me remind you, free doesn't mean free, because there'll be a signing on bonus for him, an agent signing on fee, an agent bonus. He'll probably want some relocation money. His family will need, I don't know, a new bowling alley or something like that. So there's a lot of costs that come with even free transfers. And because he's a free transfer, he'll demand silly salary as well, which I don't think he's earned. And I'll tell you what, I've got a preview coming for you guys tomorrow with Everton Mike. We do talk about Calvert-Lewin briefly in that, so check out what he's got to say tomorrow on it. But for me, it's a massive no on this one. I just see red flags all over the place. But what do you guys say? Would you take Dominic Calvert-Lewin, DCL or not, at the City ground? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's your transfer news. Get your thoughts in on all of that in the comments. Make sure you check out Football Prizes, 39p. I've never seen something so cheap in my life. Go get your tickets. Insta prizes wins all over the place as well. We'll see you on the next video. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Make sure you've subscribed. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon or night, depending on what time you're watching this. Come on, you Reds.